UNM has its own version of the Nutty Professor, and we'll show you why he's not a nut.
And Lobo TV is going to the dogs. Lobos, that is.
And is there sports life after college for basketball walk-on? Certainly, says Chris Perez. I'm Shea Phillips.
And I'm E-Nunu, and this is UNM News.
No, he's not Jerry Lewis or even Eddie Murphy, but he really is the Nutty Professor. He's Peter Pribis, and his research can add years to your life, even as it takes inches off your waistline. Kyle Herrera reports on Pribis and his work.
That's one serving of nuts, and UNM's Nutty Professor says you should be eating that daily to reap the amazing health benefits of nuts. Because of his fascination with nuts, the nickname Nutty Professor began to stick. Dr. Peter Pribis has performed various dietary studies over the past 2 decades. Most notably, Pribis found a link between nut consumption and longevity.
If you would like to know who lives the longest, you need to just ask one question. How often do you eat nuts?
In the past, dietitians would have called somebody nuts for eating that very food. However, that was before a groundbreaking 1994 walnut study conducted at Loma Linda University, where Pribis was a student. Dr. Pribis' own studies, which have been published in medical journals, have explored the positive effects of nuts on the body. And men, you'll want to listen closely.
And so we have discovered that nuts are not only good for normalizing blood lipids and lowering the risk of coronary heart disease, but they can improve your sperm quality. They're actually good against cancer.
Pribis says to crack open a walnut to see which of your organs will benefit the most.
It's funny, when you open a walnut the right way, it looks like a heart and like a brain.
Even though nuts can be expensive, Pribis has some advice for students on a budget.
And since nuts are usually expensive, my message to the students would be always eat those which are on sale. This is what I do.
So students, if you need a boost in memory or a quick pick-me-up, get crackin' and eat nuts. Reporting from the University of New Mexico, this is Kyle Herrera.
Okay, so I'm here today with Kyle Herrera, and we're going to do a little debriefing on his interview. So how did Pribis get his name, the Nutty Professor?
Dr. Pribis began his studies on nuts in the mid-90s, and while he was teaching at Andrews University, he did a banana walnut study with about 60 of his students, and the name just kind of stuck. People began calling him the Nutty Professor, and he got the name before the movie came out, so I guess you could say he's the original Nutty Professor.
What is something that you learned from interviewing Professor Pribis?
During the interview, Peter Pribis talked about cracking open a walnut the perfect way, and if you do it properly, one side should look like a heart and the other side should look like a brain. It does help your heart, it decreases the chances of heart disease, and it also increases brain function, and it also doesn't hurt that it increases sperm quality.
How is he adjusting to being a professor here at UNM?
Pribis has been at UNM for about 2 years now. I got the opportunity to see him teach one of his classes, and it seems like all the students love him. There's a point in his classes where he gets the students up and gets them active to get the blood flowing and the brain functioning a little bit better. And he's also adding another language to the 5 languages he already knows, and that is Spanish. So that definitely should help with his time here in Albuquerque.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kyle.
So what's the secret to getting that all-important first job after college? Well, it just might be whether or not you got started early looking for just the right employer. Ryan Kampmeier reports that visiting career services in sophomore or junior year could help make senior year a lot.
UNM Career Services helps students, alumni, and staff with career development and evaluation. This includes choosing majors, finding internships, offering resume workshops, and even job fairs like this one. Director of Career Services and UNM graduate Jenna Crabb says students can get help in person or online.
So you can register, and it's just through Lobo Career Connection. It's online, 24/7. I would encourage every single student at UNM to get registered because you get firsthand access to all internships and jobs that are posted. We've had students get jobs that they weren't even seeking.
Although online resources are a valuable tool, Crabb says students should not treat them as a replacement for in-person consultation.
I mean, we have great resources on our website, but I would also suggest that they come in. We have walk-ins every single day. You can also call our number, which is 277-2531. But again, I would highly suggest to come in no matter where you are in your career development here at UNM.
Crabb says even those who don't know what they want to do in the future should still seek employment guidance from career services.
You need to come in now because this is the time that we can start really working with you to kind of take that fear out of career. You know, that, oh my gosh, it's going to be so daunting, I just want to graduate. But let's get all your ducks in a row. Let's get everything ready so that when you're graduating, you have a job in hand.
This is Ryan Kampmeier reporting.
There's no doubt that sports programs are important to UNM and to the state of New Mexico. But Lobo athletes aren't the only ones who work hard to put on a show for the fans. Isabel Gonzalez takes us behind the scenes of the athletic department's Lobo TV unit.
As any sports fanatic knows, sports don't really end when the final buzzer goes off. There are always highlights, interviews, and feature videos to watch. And this is where Nathaniel Wilson and the rest of the Lobo TV team come in.
So Lobo TV is the video department for UNM Athletics. So pretty much any kind of video that generates from the Lobos stems from my supervisor and I. We do it all. We really do it all.
Wilson says he attends almost every UNM home event to do live stream or film highlights. After the event, he and producer Casey Byers head back to their office to edit the content. The team also takes care of many other types of video, such as press conference videos, player intros, and videos for the sponsors. Wilson describes this as his dream job, but also admits that producing content for sports is not all fun and games.
People who work in athletics, they have the busiest, most insane work hours. I mean, you can be in the office until like midnight to 2 a.m. It can get insanely busy. It can get insanely stressful. But I mean, that just comes with the territory.
Although he sometimes has to deal with very busy work weeks, Wilson says that for him, the positives always outweigh the negatives.
I would say my favorite part is just being in the middle of the action. Like when I'm filming football, like I'm down on the sidelines, or when I'm filming basketball, I am literally under the basket in the pit. So I am down there at the mercy of 15,000 screaming fans. I'm in the middle of the action. That is my office, and that's what I love about it. It never gets old, and there's always something exciting going on.
Wilson graduated from Montana State University less than a year ago and almost immediately started working at Lobo TV.
This is what I want to do with my life, and what I want to do for the rest of my life in some capacity. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I don't want to do anything else. It definitely has its ups and downs for sure, but I just know this is what I was meant to do.
This is Isabel Gonzalez reporting.
Despite the best efforts of Nathaniel Wilson and others in the video unit of the athletic department, Lobo men's basketball struggled this year, but even basketball has its unsung heroes, and 2 years ago, walk-on Chris Perez was one of them. A fan favorite, Joe Buck, reports that Perez is still pursuing his basketball dream.
UNM men's basketball is in unfamiliar territory for Lobo fans who have become accustomed to winning. Former Lobo player Chris Perez knows it's not only a transition for the players, but also the head coach.
Coach Alfred, Coach Neal, they kind of complemented each other. They both had different styles. So I think right now it is that kind of growing pain stage of where trying to figure out with Coach Neal as a head coach for the first time.
Craig Neal was hired as head coach last year after Steve Alford moved on to UCLA. For Neal, sliding into the head coaching chair has come with new responsibilities and expectations.
You know, that's what Coach Alford had. Everybody knew what to expect from him. As a head coach, you know, as a mentor, or, you know, as a game planner, they knew what Coach Alford was going to do. And so that's what I think Coach Neal is trying to establish now as being a new head coach.
When he graduated in 2014, Perez was the winningest walk-on in the program's history. He played alongside 1 Mountain West Player of the Year, Kendall Williams, and 3 NBA players, Tony Snell, Cameron Bairstow, and Alex Kirk. That's a lot of talent to replace, but Perez is confident in Neal.
But I think once it gets fine-tuned, once they understand what Coach Neal wants, I think it's going to be fine.
Hopefully Perez is right, and the fans will look back on this year as a rebuilding year for a storied program. This is Joseph Buck reporting.
We are joined now by Joe Buck of UNM News. Joe, thanks for coming. Could you tell us about the life of a walk-on and what Chris Perez learned from his career at UNM?
Well, definitely it's tough at the beginning because you practice just as much as everyone else. But being a walk-on and at the end of the bench, you don't get the same amount of playing time. But once Chris Perez and even the coaching staff realized kind of his role in the program and on the team, things smoothed out. He was a great teammate, and he was a part of a lot of winning at Lobo basketball.
So what opportunities do you think were created thanks to those UNM connections?
Well, coming to a program like UNM, Chris Perez knew that he would have more opportunities because it is such a high-profile place, not only in Albuquerque but in New Mexico. It's a well-known program throughout the country, and because of that, he has ambitions to coach basketball. And once he graduated last season, he began coaching over at Bosque Prep. He's the head coach of the junior varsity team, and he's assistant coach of the varsity squad, so he's taking his experience at UNM and now moving it forward.
So what do you see for the UNM basketball future? Like, what's the future looking
like?
Like?
Same thing Chris Perez is going through right now as a first-time coach. It's growing. And for Craig Neal, he'll be heading into his third season. He'll pick back up the pedigree that Lobo basketball has. It's development not only for the coaches and the players, but Lobo basketball has the fan support and definitely the players to get the job done.
Well, that's pretty much all we have right now. Joe, thank you for coming. We really do appreciate you. And now back to you.
What makes UNM unique? Well, Sam Kerwin reports that it's the only university that offers flamenco dance as a major.
Faster than a speeding bullet, louder than a locomotive, the tacones thunder on the floorboards.
It's passionate, it's fiery, it's intense, but it has reasoning for all of that.
Yarrow Perea is a senior flamenco dance major at UNM. She says flamenco originated as a form of emotional release for historically persecuted gypsies. While the art form itself is very intense, Perea finds the program at UNM can be even more so.
Yeah, it's actually quite a different experience than growing up dancing at the conservatory downtown. It's more serious, more competitive, which I'm not used to, but it's good for me.
Recently, UNM flamenco classes saw a brief change of instructors.
We got this amazing grant from the dean to bring guest artists from Spain, and these are the best dancers that come to teach us, and so it's a real treat. And although it's like a lot of information packed into just a couple of weeks, it's really valuable, and I learned so much.
This is Sam Kerwin reporting.
Well, that was some impressive dancing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, well, I'm Shea Phillips.
And I'm E-Nunu, and this is UNM News. See you next time.